Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship.
The theory that the coronavirus leaked from the Wuhan Virology Institute is now mainstream. It's being taken very seriously by governments and scientists around the world. So why did the Canadian government make a communications plan to discredit the theory wholesale last May if the government and officials were asked about it? Now, I've got the communications plan in my hands today. We're going to go through some of it. Public relations strategy was drafted in advance to deflect away from any criticism of the grant the Trudeau government gave to the Chinese military's Wuhan Virology Institute and to mitigate concerns people might have that the Canadian government would allow Chinese researchers to work at a new proposed Saskatchewan high-security lab. In Saskatchewan, the government of Canada, in collaboration with the province, is seeking to build a center for pandemic research. It's going to be a level 4 containment lab, the highest level of security here in Canada. There's only one other facility like this, and it's located in Winnipeg at the Canadian Science Centre for Human-Animal Health. And people are rightly concerned about this new Saskatchewan lab because 7 scientists at that Winnipeg lab collaborated with Chinese researchers to study and conduct experiments on deadly pathogens. Look at this story in the Globe and Mail. 2 Winnipeg lab scientists were fired in January after the Canadian Security Intelligence Service recommended that their security clearances be removed on national security grounds. Look at this. It's all from the same article. The Globe and Mail has also learned that one of the Chinese researchers, Fei Hu Yan, from the People's Liberation Army's Academy of Military Medical Sciences, worked for a period of time at the Winnipeg lab, a level 4 facility equipped to handle some of the world's deadliest diseases. Andy Ellis, former CSIS Assistant Director of Operations, said it's a madness for the Public Health Agency of Canada to be cooperating with the PLA, that's the People's Liberation Army of China. So the Public Health Agency of Canada was directly collaborating with the Chinese military on virology research at the highest level lab in the country. And then 2 researchers of Chinese origin from that very same lab get fired and their security clearances are revoked. So let's fast forward now to the communications plan. It comes from documents presented to the Health Committee. They were previously released and we have been meticulously going through all of them. And within these released documents to the Parliament Health Committee, there are several compiled question and answer briefing notes for answers to questions health bureaucrats are anticipating will be eventually asked to them. You know, in case some mainstream media journalist gets curious or the opposition parties actually get a chance to examine people at the Health Committee. So this information comes from a May 2020 question and answer briefing note where health bureaucrats and communications officers for Theresa Tam's Public Health Agency of Canada were busy anticipating questions being asked of them about the Wuhan Virology Institute. And that timeline is important, that May timeline, because on April 15th, I broke the news in Canada before the Globe and Mail sauntered up and then claimed an exclusive about 2 days later, that Justin Trudeau had given nearly 900,000 Canadian tax dollars to researchers at the Wuhan Virology Institute, which, as I noted before, is a Chinese military installation. The government of Canada was already dismissing the idea that the coronavirus could have leaked from the very institute that they were just discovered to be funding. Here it is. Here's the communications Q&A. Do the government of Canada and the Public Health Agency of Canada support examination of the possibility that a breach or accident at the Wuhan laboratory may be somehow connected to the pandemic outbreak? Will the government of Canada provide updated information on concerns about the Level 4 laboratory in Saskatchewan and the potential for espionage or security breaches by Chinese researchers? Now, here's the prepared answer for health bureaucrats that they were ready to give if they had to respond to that question or a version of that question. And I want you to hear it because it sounds like it's being written by the CCP. Look at this. Coronaviruses are naturally occurring and are known to be transmitted from animals to humans. There is no evidence to suggest that another source of the novel coronavirus causes COVID-19. No speculation about the role of Public Health Agency of Canada scientists in the emergence of the novel coronavirus is based on fact. Our COVID-19 response will continue to be based on science. So, friends, to be clear, if the government of Canada got a question about Chinese espionage at a Canadian lab or the potential for it at a new lab, or a question about whether or not the coronavirus was leaked or released from the institute they funded, the Wuhan Virology Institute, they were just going to simply ignore the question and dismiss all concerns as not being grounded in science and fact. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn-Reid. Going through these documents and getting access to these documents is often an expensive proposition. We do have a researcher who helps us, but we don't receive any funding from Justin Trudeau to ask the kinds of questions that Canadians want answers to. If you'd like to help us continue our access to information investigations into not only the Trudeau government, but all levels of government to hold them accountable to the people who sent them to their offices, please donate today at rebelinvestigates.com.